Hello, welcome to Human Design Center. I am glad that we share a common interest in human design, the science of differentiation, the art of living your life according to your unique design and genetic matrix that sustains it. Today, you are going to learn or recap, as the case may be, about Hexagram 9, the taming power of the small energy for detail. Hexagram 9 is part of 4th trimester of SIRIUS, where we accomplish our purpose through transformation, spirit, mutation. Gate 9 corresponds to God Prometheus, who fixed the situation of incorrect distribution of skills for survival. He stole the fire from the gods to give it to humans as help. Zodiac sign, Sagittarius. Gate 9 flows within the collective understanding circuit, which is about future, sharing, understanding, projecting into the future, visualizing, about patterns, being focused. Keyword, sharing. Center, sacral, that gives the energy for the power of productivity, fertility, vital energy, the response, sexual availability, reproduction. The harmonic gate is number 52, inaction, keeping still, being part of the generated channel 952, the channel of concentration, a design of absolute determination to achieve goals. The opposite gate is number 16, skills, enthusiasm. Amino acid, 309, relevant organ, sacral plexus psoas, formed by ventral branches of spinal nerves. S1, S2, 3, S4, and lumbosacral trunk, L5, L4. Tarot card associated, 5 of Cups. Very important to remember. Gate 9 is a format gate, impacting the circuit and also the body graph, especially when there is connection with Gate 52. Gate 9 in 4th trimester, in Prometheus, forms the channel with Gate 52, located in the 2nd trimester of Form and Civilization, connecting to Parvati archetype. This way, amino acid 309 associated with Gate 9 communicates with amino acid serine of Gate 52. It is relevant for the value and functioning of this gate to observe that amino acid threonine is the same for all 4 gates of Prometheus, 9, 5, 26, 11, and the first 4 lines of these hexagrams are identical. Threonine is an essential amino acid that plays an important role in regulating protein balance in the body. Because it's considered an essential amino acid, that means the body doesn't synthesize the amino acid, so we need to eat foods high in threonine to obtain it. Threonine is a precursor to serine and glycine, 2 other amino acids that are needed for the body to function properly. Keep in mind what we talked earlier, that serine is associated with Gate 52, that makes the channel of concentration with Gate 9. You may also note the connection of 309 in Gate 9 as a precursor with glycine that is associated with gates 40, 64, 47, 6 in trimester 3 of relationships. 309 protects the digestive tract by producing a mucus gel layer that covers it and serves as a barrier to damaging digestive enzymes. This important amino acid also supports healthy gut function by promoting the protective effects of the gut mucus barrier. According to research published in Frontiers in Bioscience, a large proportion of dietary threonine is utilized for intestinal mucosal protein synthesis. For this reason, consuming foods rich in threonine may help to improve gut health. We need enough threonine to support proper immune function. The thymus gland, in relation to Gate 26, uses the threonine to make T cells, or T lymphocytes, that work to fight off infections inside the body. Did you know that collagen and elastin proteins need threonine for proper production? You may already know that collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, and it's found in our muscles, bones, skin, blood vessels, tendons, and digestive system. Because threonine allows for the production of collagen, it plays a vital role in the health of your bones and muscles. Threonine also allows for proper elastin function. Elastin is a protein that's found in connective tissue and lets the skin, tendons, and ligaments resume shape after stretching or contracting. A conclusion of all these aspects is that threonine accelerates wound healing. Another important aspect to remember is that threonine prevents fat buildup in the liver. Deficiency of threonine may cause the following symptoms: digestive problems, irritability or emotional agitation, confusion, increased liver fat, poor nutrient absorption. It's clear that a proper functioning of gate 9, but also of the gates 26, 5, 11, whatever the case may be in your body graph, must be a priority in your life. The top threonine foods include organic meat, including chicken, lamb, beef, and turkey, wild-caught fish, including wild salmon, dairy products, cottage cheese, eggs, carrots, bananas, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, kidney beans, edamame, spirulina, lentils. So since we've located the gate on the mandala and on the body graph, and we have a general summary of the essential characteristics of gate 9, now let's dive into the 9th gate message and energy. The taming power of the small. Energy for detail. Potential can be fulfilled through detailed and focused attention to all pertinent aspects. About details and attentiveness. This is the gate of determination and commitment to a process that requires great endurance. Their energy helps to do detailed work, provided that their owners can maintain the necessary discipline and sit still. People of 9th gate can focus on one thing and have a natural gift for painstaking work. However, their potential can be realized through meticulous attention to all significant aspects. Without the 52nd gate, it might be difficult for these people to achieve that state of calm. That would be enough to direct their energies into one thing. Now, we are aware that in the gate 9, we approach the logic process, and we have to take a look at rituals and patterns. Gateway 9, being part of what we call the logic circuitry, it means that it draws together details that are essential in moving us toward an assured future. Attention to detail is a crucial part of these processes. In the gateway of applied details, if you have those gate 9 in your design, you'll find that you notice things that other people overlook altogether. You notice the details, but you might also find that you need all the details. For example, you're listening to somebody telling a story, and suddenly you stop the storyteller and say, "Hang on a minute, this doesn't quite fit together here. I need more information." For you, it's impossible to go on without the details. The world, and certainly the Western world, is very much attached to logic. We use it to prove things, to guide scientific exploration, to create rule systems, judicial systems, democracy. Gate 9 is about applied details with a lot of attentiveness, an inherent fascination to examine anything and everything, whether it brings ultimate satisfaction or not. About taming and small. 2 of the 64 hexagrams use the word taming, and there are 2 that use the word small. The small has to do with the nature of detail. The ability to tame is the ability to master the nature of the detail. The 9th gate is the gate of the mastery of the energy for detail. This is the format energy of the logical process. One of the most difficult things in the nature of what it is to be human, with the configuration that we have, is to establish logic in the world. How difficult it is to establish understanding in the world, because understanding does not have the same access to energy as other processes. It does not have the same easy access to energy as the abstract, the experiential process has. In order for us to establish logic and understanding in the world, it is quite difficult to find the energy. With the 9th and the 5th hexagrams, 2 gates of the SACRAL, we look at essential energy to manifest logic and understanding in the world so that we can be properly organized, and in being properly organized, we can have a relative perspective into the future. Only 3 gates provide energy for logic: the 58, the 9, and the 52. They are a long way from having an opportunity to be able to manifest, and most of the logic and understanding that gets into the world is generated rather than manifested. Generated logic is quite different because it is logic that can only come out of response to a need for the logic. Above the lines, it says, potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. Don't confuse this with a mental perspective. It is not mental. This is pure energy. This is the energy to fulfill the potential through attention. This channel is all about being focused and concentrated. This is a deep concentrating and focusing field. Walking through the 6 lines of the Gate 9. It's a process that will bring clarity to you in relation to nuances of the content and expression of the 9th gate. At the end, we will touch upon the crosses of incarnation, where Gate 9 plays its role and become part of the purpose. Let's see the 6 stages of development of this energy and possible dualism in its manifestation. Gate 9, Line 1, Sensibility. When we were looking at the abstract process, we saw that the 42 has resources of energy. What we see in the 9th hexagram is that we have a resource for concentration, what we call attention. The attention is there. We don't know out of this what the attention span is. Just like the 42 has to go to the 29 to find its commitment, the 9 has to go to the 5 to find out what its pattern must be. To be focused and concentrated is never enough. This is the beginning of a process. It is a process that says, in the first line, sensibility, a balanced and responsible approach to problem solving. Pluto exalted, the ability to avoid frustration through the creation of new forms. The reality is that the focus here is not simply on the given, which is, I have the capacity for attention. What is more important is how do I maintain that capacity for attention? Mars in detriment. After a hasty and frustrating search, the urge to kick in the door when the key is in your pocket. This is not recognizing what the pattern is. This is all about simply having this energy for concentration, but not knowing where to concentrate, on what to concentrate. You think that if you concentrate on remembering where the keys are, somehow that will work. When it doesn't, when you can't go in there and find them, you get very frustrated and kick in the door. In the white book we have the power in focusing to create new forms, or the power to generate that will lose its focus. Please understand this. This is about attention. We all know from children that to maintain their attention, either you fix their pattern or you cannot hold their attention. Otherwise, they will just move from this thing to the next because they do not have an extended attention span. That is why we need, in the logical process, to have a codified system that develops our logic. We have to learn the patterns of logic. This is very important for us because if we don't have the pattern, we can have the energy for the logical process but not know what to do with it. These people become deeply restless. They can focus their attention, but on what? And how? And when? This is what they don't know. Pluto in transit in this 9th gate. It says, a balanced and responsible approach to problem solving. Pay attention to nuances. It is not saying a balanced and responsible approach to solving problems. It is about the process itself that gets to eventually solving a problem. Gate 9, Line 2, Misery loves company. What happens when you get to the second line, misery loves company? The projection that is coming out of the second line is, I can solve the problem because I can focus. This is not how the problem is solved. It is one necessary aspect in order to solve a problem eventually, but this is the illusion that is caught up in the projection. The typical 9.2 students study and focus all the time, and they don't actually learn anything. They study books all day and study the same thing over and over again, and nothing really comes out of that. That is the potential in this. To solve the problem is not the same as problem solving. This is a process that this line projects out. Misery loves company. Remember, we are in the collective here, so it is social. Collaboration with others to temper frustration. They are projecting out. I can solve the problem, I can concentrate. With that, they get the energy around them that others say, okay, we will join in that process of concentration. Remember that the logic process is a collective process, like a laboratory full of scientists all working on the same thing in order to solve the problem. Science, generally, is a collective process. Logic works in the collective field. Jupiter in detriment. The overwhelming need for expansion can lead to errors in judgment, missed opportunities, and depression. The child that says, "But I study, why didn't I pass? I stared at it all day. It got my full attention. I was focused on it." That is the whole thing about the second line. What is projected out does not necessarily have the depth behind it. It is not introspective. It is just projecting out. I can solve the problems because I can focus. That is not solving the problem. That's the way to problem solving. Gate 9, line 3, the straw that breaks the camel's back. This third line is an archetype like the 42.3. It is the overlooked minor element that always predetermines failure. Whenever you see the word failure or mistake in a third line, it is okay because this is exactly where it is supposed to be. It does not mean that there is anything terrible about that at all. It just means that for certain, in this third line, this process of bonds made and broken, of trial and error, of learning from mistakes, is going to be accentuated. Earth exalted. The use of force to temporarily overcome impediments. In other words, the moment that something is not working in the concentration, to put even more concentration on it. On the other side, persistent force that saps vitality and turns molehills into mountains. These people will always miss something. There is always a moment in which their concentration breaks. There is a moment that the concentration just simply is not there. And in that moment, you can take the wrong turn and go for a long detour. In that moment, you can just miss, literally, what is there. What is missed can become an enormous thing. The logic process does not like the word mistake. The abstract people do not care about mistakes. Crisis is part of their way of life. But logical people get very upset with mistakes. 1 and 1 is not 2, but 3. No 2. It is this whole process of, that is a mistake. You have to correct that. It has to be right because the logic process has to be consistently provable for the collective. Making a mistake in the logic process can create a lot of deep anxiety in logical people because the very nature of logic is to eliminate the mistakes so that we can know for certain. What is this formula? East MC squared? Let's make it certain. We better check that out. Otherwise, we scratch this thing away because we are not going to put that into the world and predict naturally into the future with that, unless we can be certain that this foundation is correct. What happens here in the third line is the miracle of what logic always needs. Logic always needs the illogic of a mistake, because out of this can come so many wonders. That moment where there is something that is missed, that moment that everything breaks down and is a failure, that moment can turn into an enormous success. The classic example is of the scientist who, in the moment of losing their concentration, allows something to get too hot and explode. Out of that explosion comes something wonderful and, wow, that is amazing. How did that happen? It is illogical, and that makes them very uncomfortable. In the White Book, the loss of power through the failure to focus, it is gone. You lose it in that moment. The power is gone, and you can't focus, and then something will be missed because the concentration was not there. On the other side of this, the power to turn a focus into an obsession. Mature 9.3 people have learned a lot, like so many people that carry the third line themes in their life. They get to learn a lot because they make what other people consider a lot of mistakes. Out of all their mistakes, they learn many things that others don't get to learn. Gate 9, line 4, dedication. We come to our line of externalization, our line of being fixed. These people are fixed on the resonance of the first line. They are fixed on problem solving, on providing their energy for the logical process. This energy is basically the energy to be able to lead and to guide others through the experimentation with the logical process. This will eventually go all the way up to the leadership channel, the channel of being an alpha. So, it is about the process of gathering energy in order to guide humanity through understanding. This line is called dedication. Regardless of the pressures or stress, the disciplined attention to detail. These people are fixed on being focused. These are people that must concentrate. Moon exalted. Right action that leads inevitably to actualization. Right action being the action to concentrate. This is what these people are there for. To live out clearly this fixed one way. Concentration is their way. Mars in detriment. The persistent urge to want to skip essential steps. In other words, I have concentrated enough. Now I want to act. This is not an awareness that can decide that. You have two sides of this in the White Book. The power to act on the potential of the focus, or the drive for action that ignores the details. This need to generate. Keep in mind that the logic process is under so much stress because it does not have easy access to energy. The people who carry the logical energy gates feel this enormous pressure on them to release their energy because the rest of the logical process wants it, so they can do their experiments and can actually lead and guide. There is a great deal of stress in that sense on the concentrating field from others. Remember, again, collective and social in this context. The key in that is that they have this power and they are externalizing this power. These are the people that help other people concentrate. If you have 5 kids studying together and one of them has the 9.4, the moment that one of them says, "Let's take a break and listen to some music," it will be the 9.4 that is saying, "No, we are here to focus and concentrate. We better get this done." Logic is collective. They have that power to keep everybody focused on that logical process. Gate 9, line 5, faith. This 5th line is one of the most perverse lines in all of the I Ching. We know that the 5th line is a line of universalization, and we know that the 5th line, in the resonance to the 2nd line, rather than projecting outwards, is being projected upon. Look at the keynote of this line. It says, faith. Faith has nothing to do with the logic process. This is a projection from the outside onto people who obviously have a concentrative skill. The projection from the outside is, we have faith in them because they are concentrating. We have faith that the doctors will find a cure to a disease because they are concentrating on something. But, like the student that does not learn anything, they may not figure it out either. Nonetheless, this brings an element of the belief system into the logical process. It is, in that sense, that I call it perverse, because this is peculiar for a logical process. As an overview, the trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment. In other words, if you really concentrate, you will really get it. Well, maybe. This is after all the projection coming from the outside. The people who get that projection put on them are under all kinds of pressure to be able to fulfill that. Jupiter exalted, loyalty to the letter of the law, meaning you concentrate, you do not take off from that. Pay attention to this wonderful line in the Black Book, Earth in detriment. Like the mystery of God, doubt engendered through the perceived illogic of a process. How can I have faith that I will find the solution when all I know to do is how to concentrate? There is something bizarre in all these people putting their faith and trust in me. Just because I can stare all day does not mean that I will come up with a viable solution. In that, it brings an energy of doubt. Is this all I have to do? Just concentrate? Of course it isn't. The power to focus and bring value to concentration, or where the lack of power to concentrate leads to doubt. This strange abstract concept stuck in the middle of how we universalize the energy to be concentrated. If you have 2 kids and one of them studies and the other one never studies, and you ask their parents which one do they think is going to pass and do well, the parent that has the child that studies says, I have faith that they will do all right. They are doing their work. The other parent says, no, I do not have any faith because they are not concentrating. That does not mean that the one who does not concentrate fails and the concentrated one succeeds. This is the whole irony of this, and this is why it brings doubt. It brings doubt because this is only an aspect in a very complex collective process of establishing logic in the world. Gate 9, line 6, gratitude. The sixth line is a very beautiful line because it carries with it a quality that you do not often see, which is the quality of joy. There is joy that is clearly obvious in the 9th and in the 5th hexagram as well. This is the joy which comes with accepting small rewards for small victories. The real beauty of concentration is that it is there to provide power to solve something, to bring something ultimately into a fact. Each step along the way is really a value. As long as one is clear about what one is focused on, there can be enormous joy in that process. But we know the limitation of the 6th line, which is there must be more to all of this. The greatest problem that 6th line logical people here have is that they are trying to look at the final solution, where everything has been worked out and the formulas have been established so they can say, I will work for that, I will concentrate on that, and get my joy out of getting there. But you cannot know in the logical process that you actually will get there. This line in the Black Book comes from an old Chinese saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. If you take the first step in agony, in anticipation of the rest of that journey, if you think that you will only take that first step, or that you cannot go to the end of that journey, you will never start on that road. This is the essence for the logical process. For the 6th line here, it is not about whether I can get to that final step or not. It is whether or not I can find joy in each step. They will not take that step, and they will not concentrate unless each step is a joy. This is what it is all about for them. They have to have joy in this focus and concentration in their life. It has to make them feel good, not the solution, but the process. After all, this is what it is all about. This is all about providing essential energy for a logical process and not for the solution. Pluto in detriment. No single step is of value until the journey is over. If there is no joy in each step, they will not get into it. They just won't, and they learn this very quickly, and then they start pulling back, and they do not give their energy for the logical process. In the White Book, Moon exalted. The power to enjoy the concentrating process. The moon is bringing that quality out. The moment you see the moon connected to a line, you know that this line is going to have a cycle. It is rising from a low to a peak and back to a low in its cycle, and you know that you will go through all of these aspects. Somebody who has the moon here exalted at the beginning of their lunar cycle, that can be like the no moon phase. They don't really enjoy it, and the next day they enjoy it a little bit more and so on, until they reach a peak, and then they start sliding down the other end. Logic is about repetition, and it can get boring. The other side is the energy for expression that cannot find joy in the process until it is complete. In the logic process, it is never complete. There will be people who will check out the human design system for as long as there are people who check out anything logically, whether or not generation after generation says that logic works. As an example, a student studying science has to do all these old formulas. Those formulas have been checked for hundreds of years, over and over again. He often reads in scientific journals about that old formula that everybody thought was cast in concrete, and somebody found a mistake. The other day, they just discovered that they think that light actually has 2 different speeds, depending on where you are standing. According to Einstein, there is only one speed of light. Formulas never get trusted, and of course, that is essential to understand here. This is very deeply depressing. If you really think that the only way that you can commit yourself to a logical process is if you know that it will bring about the correct answer, You never know. You cannot know, and when you have it in your hand, you still can't let go off the fact that it is always going to be open to what is natural in the logic process. Criticism, the need to correct, the need to make sure that it is perfect, the need to lead with it. All this is necessary for working in the logic process. The faith of the fifth line comes in here. You have to trust every single step because it is never complete. It is part of that illogical process that lies here at the beginning of this. There is no guarantee of logic. There is nothing but this quality of faith, which logical people, at their core, do not want to have to deal with. It is okay for a believer to say, I believe that we will have a cure for AIDS. That is very nice, but that is not the same as a logical person's attitude toward the very same phenomenon, because the logical person says that it is possible that a cure for AIDS can be found. But we have to do our research, and we have to check it out and do our experiments. The perfect joke is, when you get to the sixth line here, the next hexagram is the fifth hexagram, first line, and that is exactly where the 9 gate goes in the circuitry. Now let's move on to a different perspective to see how the 9th gate sustain or communicate the purpose of life through the crosses of incarnation that are established when the conscious sun is placed within the 9th gate, 9th hexagram, right angle cross of planning 4, consisting of following gates 9, 16, 40, 37. People whose enthusiasm is tempered by sensibly focusing on the pertinent details. Great things, such as plans, bargains, talent, grow naturally when all aspects have been carefully considered and adequately supported. You are here to contribute by planning for your family, group, or community. You have the energy to look at the details and focus on what needs to be done. You are not about determining where the energy or financial resources will come from, because that is someone else's responsibility. Your ability to plan is grounded in the priorities of the group you are working with. Your focus is on the ends, not on the means. Juxtaposition. Cross of focus, consisting of following gates 9, 16, 64, 63. People who enthusiastically inspire others to bring into focus what is important for the collective, to identify and concentrate on the potential future of society. You are driven with the energy to find focus in things, especially around planning. Like a travel agent, you can race around the internet trying to find all the logical choices. However, that is not always the most productive way this energy works. Your design will more likely find focus by relaxing into the task and allowing the focus to come into view with time. So using the travel agent example, instead of racing around logically working things out, take a more Zen-like approach and allow the pieces to naturally come together. This relaxed method is how you will find focus most successfully and make your contribution to all that you do. Left angle cross of identification 2, consisting of following gates 9, 16, 64, 63. People who identify where to concentrate their skills, on which doubt or impasse, and find mental stability in knowing that there are resources in place to assuage or address them. Your cross carries the energy to have great focus and contribution. Your ability to focus and be a strong contributor is directly linked to the rewards and security you are given. Your design is not well suited for a speculative career where instead of income, you receive shares or a potential future bonus. You are not a person for Google in the early days, as you need the stability in hand. With that stability, you can bring enormous focus to whatever you do and make a big contribution. I hope this material is helpful and supporting for the development of your human design knowledge. Please share if you enjoyed listening, and subscribe if you want to be notified about any new posting of informative, learning materials regarding human design. Thank you.